Hello, my friends. Hello,
Hello.
Enzo.
How are you, Suze?
So we were having a really good conversation before we started the show right now. I want to say hello to Uncle Bones and say hello to that mom. Hello, my friends. How are you?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Hello, Andy Gambino.
Yeah, that's a friend of mine that lives just outside of London. He had to go to bed. He said he'd try and watch, but that's kind of late for him. So
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
like
I got it. That's cool.
3:30 in the morning for him. So
Meeting new friends. What time is it for you right now?
9:37. I'm an hour ahead of you.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad. You're just an hour difference here.
Yeah, I'm Central Time.
That's cool. So, I know I had certain questions I was going to ask you, but now that we were talking about aliens right before we got on, I want to finish. I want to talk more on that conversation. Do you know about any? How do you feel about the aliens? And like, do you think what do you think about them?
Just in general, or like?
I think there is
specifics.
Types, and
it's certainly. My whole thing with the whole thing, because I do enjoy like investigating like UFOs and things like that. That's kind of my thing. And I believe in a lot of other things outside of that. Being an old student of Art Bell, I've certainly listened to tons of stories over the years of all types. But as far as aliens themselves go, I don't necessarily, I'm kind of a sciencey guy. So it's more of a, there's been tons and tons of stories over the years, actually throughout history, going back, people writing down things, and some people attribute that maybe, angelic and demon interactions may have been these aliens. I don't know necessarily about that. But as far as the aliens themselves, do they exist? Sure. Just pure math, because I'm a astronomer nerd. That's why I've got star charts. This is my real wall behind me. And
very cool.
All of that just the mathematical possibility, there's gonna be other life out there in our own galaxy. Forget, doing the whole universe, of course. Are they visiting us? There's certainly some strange things in the sky that we can't attribute to other countries on the planet. If other countries had that kind of technology, they would have taken over the world by now, because they way outclass our own stuff. So aliens, I don't think are here necessarily to invade or to take over the planet. They don't need our planet. There's plenty of other planets out there. They don't need our water. No, there's billions and billions of tons of frozen water out in our own solar system. They don't need to come and steal ours. Besides, you don't want our water. Fish poop in that. They don't, the same reason they don't need our resource. They don't need to steal our gold or any. There's plenty of that stuff in our own asteroid belt. There used to be a planet there, and it's all busted up, so it's easy pickings. That's when we get to that level of technology ourselves, so we can go out and start mining those asteroids. Everybody will have a gold-plated toilet, and gold will be worthless. It'll be, and everything will be made out of gold because it's shiny.
Because there's a lot of gold out there?
There are mountain-sized chunks of gold and silver and uranium, the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah. Because because we're like the third planet in our solar system. Then there's Mars. Then there's the asteroid belt. Then there's Jupiter. That asteroid belt used to be a big planet, but it got ripped apart from the tidal forces, the gravity basically of whenever it would pass so close to where Jupiter is, it just tore it apart. And then it sprinkled out and spread out over billions of years to make this big asteroid belt that circles our solar system. You know how we have to go mining deeper into the earth to find the really good stuff that's really valuable and all that? Planet's already busted up right over there. We just got to go pick it up. But it is a kind of a pain.
Oh, cool.
To do that. So
yeah,
so aliens, as far as coming here, checking us out, I think it's more of a curiosity thing for them. There's the theory out there that they actually created humans, that were a giant biological experiment. They're just checking up on that, that kind of an idea. I don't know. There's
I don't
certainly,
know.
we have that
Maybe.
link in our own biology that we've never really found between, your Cro-Magnon and us. There should be something else. There should be a couple other layers in there of proto-human, but we've never found it. So doesn't mean it didn't exist. Maybe I don't know. There's a million different reasons why that isn't, but I don't think they're here to do us any harm. Don't necessarily know if they're helping us, but they're not here to invade. It's not an Independence Day scenario where they're coming in to blow us up. Because honestly, if they did, there's nothing we can do about it. If they have the technology to traverse the gulfs of space, they're way outclassing any technology we have. So they could certainly take over if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But
Well, they do. Well, don't you think? I think they do already. They are way outclassing any technology already. But okay. Now I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that they are helping us because we're destroying our planet. Hi, Jara.
Sorry,
and I believe that I believe in past lives or simultaneous lives because they're all happening now. But I believe in the quantum theory and reincarnation, and I think that maybe some of us were aliens at one point in time. We are aliens as humans. Humans are aliens. So because we're on a planet and we're aliens to somebody. So
that's right.
And I do think they're helping us, but I don't think they want to blow us up because I think they have a higher consciousness than us. And I think that they follow the rules of the universe, the universal laws. And that's why they're helping us, because we were about to do something that would affect the whole universe as a whole with nuclear, whatever.
Right.
So I do think that they're helping us. I do think that. And I think like Jara is like a star seed, or she's she has some sort of connection to the aliens. I think I can tell when people are too.
I don't know. I don't feel like I feel like I'm alien to this place, this world, but not from necessarily. I don't know what I am, but I'm definitely not of this world that is jacked up. This world is jacked up.
Well, I wouldn't want to claim it either. It's we're kind of a mess.
Yeah,
we are. We're a hot ass mess. It's really bad, but we're going to be better. I believe we are going to get better, and I believe probably thanks to the aliens for helping us.
Don't know, but
I don't know.
Feel like there's kind of
politicians, or
that's stuff like that. I would imagine that's kind of that's our business. That's something that we need to deal with. If you don't like them, vote them out of office, or know more about it before they ever reach to that like president level, or world leader type level. Why are you letting such vermin sneak their way through? I just was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about how all the different layers of parapsychology and our own politics, world politics, have one big thing in common: is all your cryptozoology, your parapsychology, your ufology, and general politics, federal, state, and local, are infested with people that are just out to make a buck, grifters, or whether that's monetary value or just power. They want to wield power over somebody,
right.
And that's something that's been going throughout all of recorded history. So that's a human thing. We got to deal with that on our own, I feel.
Yeah, we need to deal with it, because it sucks, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize apply to them. The way our system is set up, they don't even realize it applies to them yet, and until it's too late. And it's like it affects everybody pretty much. Like, it's just crazy that our system is set up in such a way, and I bet most people don't even have any idea that it's like this. So I've been navigating the long-term care system with the state, and let me tell you what, it's fun stuff. Did you know you can only have $2,000? You can't have more than $2,000 in assets. And you can't give away your assets either, because they have a look
To what? To be
period.
accepted?
And they'll go and look and see if you gave anything away, and they can penalize you for that. So you can't have anything, but you also can't give anything away. You also can't sell anything. You also can't give it to your kids. It's like, what the hell? Like, seriously?
Even when you're dead, it's like death tax, really?
Yeah. And then if you're dead, and then when you die, they come after the estate or the house, and they want their money back to pay for your care. But so I'm like, what is the money they're taking out of our paychecks that they've taken since I was 14 years old that I'm never going to see? Like, what about that money? I want someone to ask that question to a presidential candidate. I don't think anybody would be allowed to ask it, but I would like for someone to ask, since the Social Security Trust Fund runs dry in 2037, why are you guys still taking money from people? Isn't that stealing? If you're literally taking money out of our checks that you're never intending to ever pay back, that's called stealing. Stealing.
That is called stealing.
And I want someone to ask that question, because that's important, because they're not even giving you your benefits that you should get as a person who's, worked hard to try to own your home or whatever. You can't even live in your own home while you're sick. It's gross. It's just,
it's gross and disgusting.
I can't believe it.
It is pretty maddening to
even
think about it. It's like, for every dollar that you earn at your job, how many times is that dollar taxed? I mean, it's taxed before you even get it. There's Social Security taken out, there's federal, there's state, there's local taxes that are all taken out. Now you've got a little piece of that dollar left, so you have to go buy something. Well, you're taxed on whatever it is you buy too. So
well, and then plus the government, they invest our money too. They invest on the back end. They're just making money on each of us probably 10 times over. Mm-hmm. It's just weird and gross, and it's not fair. It's just not. And it sucks that it comes down to money when these are people, man. Like, these are my parents. They're not it's like you can't have anything in order to get health care. Like, how much sense does that make, everybody? Like, we're all going to get old and we're all going to die. So, this is a problem. I'm like, this is a problem that it will affect every single person on this planet.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. It's like they don't.
You know what? We can be positive. We can put all of our energy towards the positive and just hope that something changes. Because that's one thing that is constant.
What people need to do is we need to educate ourselves. That people need to understand and learn the system, even if it seems hard. That's the only way you're going to beat it is because you have to be able to match them. You have to know what you're talking about in order to
I don't have a lot of confidence in a long range economic plan that depends on me hoping things work out.
Yeah, right.
You're right. You're right.
I understand what you mean by it when I say it. I'm kind of joking here when I say it, but
it's true. It's true. I say that because one of the things I've been one of my mantras I've been doing lately is to not react to things that I don't prefer, and
you have to react to the things that you have to take action, over something that's affecting you, whether you prefer it or not. You have to I have to take action. And it sucks when you literally can't take any action because they block every action that you can possibly take. There's no, action or whatever. And it's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
So I'm not what we could do about it though. I bet you we could do something about it as the people. We could do something about it, I'm sure. I don't know what though.
Well, we have to do what Enzo said, you have to vote people out or whatever.
That's right. Either run for office yourself on that platform of fixing Social Security, or at least giving people an option of opting out of the federal government. Federal government, not so good with our money, oddly enough.
I don't think we even
you can take all the money that they've taken out of your paycheck your entire life until you reach that age where you can maybe get a little bit back. Right. If you had invested that same amount in a zillion different index funds and things like that over the period of life, you'd have a ton of money.
Right. Or if you'd
invest
invest it, be able to invest it in what you want, like real estate or something. Right.
And and that's true too. You know, and they're not spending our money very wisely.
No.
There was watching some show the other day where they were complaining about, it's like they spent $22 million for this program at Skinwalker Ranch. It was like, 22 million to the federal government is an acceptable rounding error. That's nothing for them.
Well, and it's like, I don't want to use my tax dollars to make killing machines. I don't kill people, like, no matter what. Like, I don't think there's ever a reason to kill anybody ever, period. End of sentence. So, like, I don't want my tax dollars to be spent on making bombs and blowing up children and stuff. It's like not okay, you know, bad. It's like, actually, I think it's against my religion to pay taxes, guys. I think it is. I'm pretty sure that. Yep.
I mean, I could understand it a little bit for like a national defense. Yeah, some money has to go to that. And there's people out there that'll, of course, poo-poo that too. But you need a military. You need to defend your country in some fashion.
Against what?
Anyone
who are we all defending ourselves against? Just each other. That's so dumb.
That's it. Well, that's it. Who else is it going to be? It's not going to be invaders from space. It's not going to be, you know, we're already outclassed. We haven't reached that level yet.
It's like, why do humans have to always fight, man?
Because people have, when a group has less stuff and another group has more stuff, they want more stuff too. And
I don't understand.
Sometimes the only way they can get it is to take that other person's stuff. So we need something to protect us so we don't lose our stuff.
Why? I don't understand why there's people like that, because I'm not like that. Like, I don't understand why the people are like
believe
that.
me, I wish we did live in a world where we didn't have to lock the doors, where we didn't have to have a military, where we all got along. But then you would have somebody with a pointy stick that would end up taking over the world, kind of a thing that would end up being bad for everybody. So we're just not we're not evolved to that point yet. And you have to go through the steps to see that we're not blowing nukes off all the time like we were in the 50s and 60s, where you could literally, they had stuff in Las Vegas. They had tours. We could go out and watch them set the nukes off out in the middle of the desert there in Nevada.
Oh, I know. We got, like, my grandpa and I believe Susie's mom, they got money from the Downwinders program because of all the nuclear testing and fallout there was that blew in the wind. So, yeah. If you
my mom and my dad got Downwinders.
Are born during a certain year and you get cancer, you qualify for that. So if you
we weren't very smart about. We didn't really understand nuclear fallout that well back in the day, but that didn't keep us from keep blowing them up though.
I know. Well, that movie Madame Curie or whatever about the lady that discovered radioactive stuff. When they first discovered it, everybody thought it was so cool. They were like sleeping with it under their pillow.
Yeah, look, I can hold my hand up and see the bones in it.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. And they had like radioactive cigarettes, and radioactive toothpaste, and like all kinds of shit. Yep.
And there's certain cultures where they still don't. I mean, the old school Russians, look at what happened with Chernobyl. It'll be fine. It'll just we'll spray some water or something like that on there. It'll be fine. Just pour some wet cement on it. It'll get hard. It'll be fun. No, it won't. It will eat a hole through the floor of your facility and keep going till it hits the center of the earth. Fortunately, it didn't get that far, but it wasn't too far off. That was, catastrophic of just, it'll be fine. No, it won't. You got to know what the hell you're doing with this stuff.
Well, that makes me worry. So they did that with that stuff. So that makes me worried when they're messing around with CERN and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, these people are going to blow us up. Like, seriously.
They're doing a lot of bad shit at CERN.
I didn't watch the movie, but Oppenheimer, the historical, not the movie, they just came out. One of the theories on the first actual nuclear detonation from an atomic bomb was, there's a tiny % chance this could actually ignite all the oxygen in the air and set the entire atmosphere of the planet on fire if we set
Oh
this
my
up.
gosh.
It'll be fine. That's a very small chance. We need this to win the war.
Wow. That is crazy.
Because a lot of that stuff was super theoretical, before they actually did it and could actually measure, the output of some of this stuff. But that was a going theory, and they say keep going. It's like, wow, okay.
Wow.
Well, see, and that's my theory for the reason why, if there are periodic resets, I mean, like geologically, if there's cataclysms that happen to wipe everything out, I believe that it's designed like that to keep mankind from becoming too powerful with their technology before they have a moral compass, the right moral compass, because we could destroy the universe, whatever we're in, we could destroy everything, because if you just continue to get smart and gain technology but you have no moral compass,
takes time. That's I mean, we've even within our forgetting something that may have happened before the Ice Age, we've had hundreds and hundreds of years of dark history within our own timeline that we're aware of, that
right.
Nothing was learned. It was actually backwards, where education was lost. It wasn't taught to people. You're the serf and I'm the king, and that's the end of the story. That's all you need to learn. So there was no science. There was no advancement at all. So how much further would we have been if none of those things would have happened?
Well, there's Jason Breshears talks about how the Cro-Magnon man, I guess there's like a lot of evidence and data that they weren't necessarily, because we were always been taught like they were kind of like dumb or caveman like. But he says that they weren't. They were actually intelligent. It's just that they lost their infrastructure. And so they had to live in caves and stuff, but they were intelligent. They just lost everything. Which if you think about, I mean, it wouldn't take much to set us back quite a bit, but we do go from like, just in 200 years, we went from being on a horse and a buggy, to like
going to the moon. Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know about the moon. I'm a little iffy on that one, but, but yeah,
I think we went
to rockets. I just don't know where they're going.
Who would have loved to have, just for the socio-political boon, to prove that we never went to the moon? The Russians. They would have loved to have been able to prove that we never went, because they never went. They sent probes, but they never sent a man thing there. So they would have loved to have been able to dig it. So all the power of the evil Russian Empire wasn't able to figure out that.
I think they know. I think that everybody tried to go and they just they can only get so far. And then I don't know what happens. I don't think they can go. I don't think we've sent stuff out I used to believe that, but I don't think we've sent stuff out. NASA just doesn't do enough to prove anything. They seem like they just tell stories. Huh? What was that, Susie?
I was asking Enzo do you think that we really went to the moon, Enzo?
I do. I think we have. We've gone to the moon. We've sent probes to Mars. We've sent probes out past the outer planets, some of which by now have actually gone outside of the heliosphere, which is that, where as far out as the sun can push particles. It's actually gone past that.
Why wouldn't we have, though, like something on the moon, like a camera that's video recording Earth, that's always live streaming for people to be able to see? Like, we're super arrogant people that we always want to look at ourselves. Like, why wouldn't they have that? If we
one, it costs a lot of money to send stuff there. That's kind of why we stopped going for the longest time, because there's not a whole lot there. There's some stuff there that would be kind of interesting.
How many things have we sent to the Ukraine? You'd think that humankind would want to put some kind of emphasis towards seeing ourselves from the moon, but no, they don't. Why is that?
You would think, but no, it's just one of those things they didn't feel they needed to spend money on. I mean, I get what you're saying.
A reason for
if you're able to look down and see how small the Earth is, And that's where everyone you've ever known or heard of or read about lived there in that little blue dot. That makes it a whole lot smaller and all that. And the guy with the pointy stick on the next rise doesn't care. So he doesn't care what you say. He wants your stuff again. There's always going to be that, no matter how advanced we get. I would love to think, we'll get to that utopian point where someone with those thoughts are the outlier crazies, that kind of thing. But we're a long way off. We're a very long way off from that.
Yeah, I've heard about the secret moon base thing. I actually don't. I would believe that more than I would believe that we've been to the moon. I would believe that the moon is some kind of.
Wait a minute. Have we been to the moon, or do we have a secret moon base?
I don't mean us. I didn't mean us like people. I didn't mean humans. I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean humans?
It's
the moon. That the moon is a giant spaceship.
Like it's a structure of some kind.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't think that I don't believe that the guy like Buzz Aldrin and all, I do not believe that they went to the moon. Though not those specific people and that like car thing that they were on that was made out of tinfoil, I don't believe went to the moon.
It's only got like a sixth of the gravity. It doesn't need to be a big Ford Explorer. You don't need anything that big and heavy up there on the moon.
Well, I get that, but they just haven't done anything to like. There's so many holes in it. There's just too many for me. I do believe there is space and there's something out there because I don't know. Somehow I predicted an asteroid a long time ago.
Japan is sending rovers up to the moon this year. India is sending probes to the moon this year.
Well, actually, theirs is already there. I don't.
They have video. But it's got a video camera on it, and you can see it. That's what you said.
That's easily. That can
the
be
cameras though. They only show a little part. They don't show like the whole thing. It's like there's not. Something has to like. I want it to be true so bad, but like it has to actually like. You have to show me in a way that like I'm not all. Yeah, but how come like I have so many things and nobody can answer anything? So I don't know. It's hard for me to believe in something just because they tell it to me.
Well, it just happens to be that the name of the show is Let's Ask Enzo. So ask I will try.
I had a question I wanted to ask you. Sure. What is the scariest thing you've ever seen?
Good question.
Scariest thing I ever saw, to just me personally, or is like an amazing thing that's like I can't believe what it is.
You personally, and then why was it scary? Why was it scary?
Probably the single scariest like personal thing I ever saw was I was in the Air Force for 24 years. No, I don't know where the UFOs are. I was an aircraft maintenance guy. I was a lowly zero. But I was just north of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. Enough north to where the Scuds that were fired at the city kind of were splashing down around us from time to time. And there was one point where a Scud, it's a missile. It's a medium range intercontinental type ballistic missile.
That's scary.
Yeah. Well, what was scary is the Scud missile was very scary when you're on the receiving end of it. It's super scary.
Does it chase you down? Like
no. It's one of those I'm going to destroy a building sized missile. It's not. It's not really it's not a nuclear thing, but it can carry chemical weapons. That was the big scare when I was there. All the ones that I saw hit all had just explosive warheads. But supposedly the way that they had to lob them, because we were right on the outside of when the place we were at when we first got there, like, don't worry about those Scuds. They can't reach that far. Opening night.
Oh my gosh, that's scary. That would be terrifying.
That would.
Yeah. But The first one that I really saw, because of course, whenever a launch was detected, we would, had to throw on all of our chemical gear because we didn't know if it had chemicals in it. So you had to be prepared. So you had to, only had a few seconds to get your mask and all your suit on, all that BS. And there was an instance where, because where we were working, I wasn't even at a base. I was at a international airport that they had basically gave to us. It was a brand new airport, the King Khalid International Airport, which in that year's Guinness Book of World Record was considered the largest airport in the world.
Oh, wow.
But it hadn't really opened up to commercial traffic yet. So they basically said, hey, just it's you guys use it. So we did. And we were actually living out of where the construction crews that built the airport, they were, I guess you could call them apartments, like 2-story kind of buildings with very small rooms in there that we jammed like 4 people in. But it was about 5 miles away from the main airport where I was working. So you had to take a bus that would drive around to get back to where you lived. And, you'd catch a few hours sleep and go back. But we're halfway driving back to the, where the building was, and we see a guy blocking the road in a Humvee, and he shines the light on his face and he has his mask on. It's like, we're under attack. Once we got out of the bus, then we could hear the distant, sirens going off and stuff like that. So we had to basically just walk out into the desert away from the, road in the open, put on our gear, just sit and watch the sky. And then we saw it coming in. It looked like just like a red line coming in. It was probably about 15 or 20 miles away from where I was. Well, of course it was up in the air, so I don't know exactly, but and of course, whenever they fired that, the Army had still relatively new Patriot missile batteries. They're designed for anti-aircraft, but Scuds were so big and slow, they actually were pretty effective shooting them down. They would always launch 2. One would go for the direct hit, and if it missed, the other one would detonate in front of it to at least knock it off course, kind of an idea.
Oh.
And the Patriot missiles look like just brilliant white stars. And of course, just the sound is bananas. Like, oh, you hear all this stuff going on at the same time. So here's this red line coming down out of the sky with 2 little stars going up at it. Brilliant flash that looks like midday from the explosion. And then you see little pieces and parts falling down. And you're like, wow, I wonder if they got the warhead when they hit it. It gets down to the horizon, and then it looks like the sun coming up. The explosion was so big.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I guess they didn't get it.
Oh, wow.
But, somebody else made this observation, and it was perfect. Once the missiles hit, and you just saw these little sparkly red bits falling down towards the horizon, it was a lot like if you've ever been behind a car where someone at night, you're driving at night, and someone in the car in front of you throws a cigarette out, and you see it spark when it hits her, it's just those red sparks.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly what it looked like.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And so that's the scaredest I've ever been from seeing something.
My gosh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It may not be the like cosmic kind of thing where it's like, oh, sure, UFO, or like anything like that.
No,
that's
the most terrifying thing, because that was real.
That's
like that was real, and your life is like right there. That would be terrifying. Oh my gosh. I don't know how you handle that, or like how people in the military handle that. Like I would go bananas.
In 2007, I ended up going to Baghdad. Well, I was actually at a base just north of Baghdad teaching the Iraqi Air Force how to fly helicopters that they had bought off of us. And as it turns out, that's where they stored and built those Scud missiles. They still had a few shells of them.
Oh, wow.
I kind of had it's like, wow, my life has come full circle.
Right? You're like, I've seen one of those.
Yeah,
you know how to fly a helicopter?
No, I don't.
Oh, I was like, cool.
I was a mechanic. I worked on things. And at that time,
cool.
I worked in like the safety office, which was mishap prevention. If somebody gets in an accident and bends metal or breaks a bone, I have to do the investigation to make sure that doesn't happen again, kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
That was at the very end of my career. But I got sent there as a safety person, which was just dumb. It was ridiculous. But several government turnovers there. I don't know if those helicopters even exist, if they haven't been blown up by somebody else or crashed by some other group. Or I'm 90% sure the people I taught are probably not alive today.
Oh, really? That's too bad.
Yeah, there's been a few local regime changes over that kind of thing. Lots of fighting involved.
Right. Gosh, that'd be so scary. I'd be so stressed out. I don't think I could. I definitely could not be in the military.
That place where I was at, we got mortared pretty much every day, and it got to be where mortars. It's where they have like, you've probably seen it in the movies where they have like the little tube and they drop a little rocket in there, boom, and it goes off.
Oh yeah,
like a distance away, and it's got an explosive in it and blows up, and everybody flies up in the air in the movies.
That's terrifying.
But it became so common that it's one of those. If you heard the explosion and you're still standing, you're okay. There were many different levels of okay. If you're if you heard the explosion and maybe you fell down on the ground, but you're still intact, you're probably okay.
Wow.
If you didn't hear the explosion, but suddenly find yourself staring at the sky and you're in a lot of pain, you may not be okay.
So, like, does it shake the ground? Like, can it knock you off? An explosion knock you off your feet without like it hitting you or whatever?
From mortars, if they're very nearby. It certainly can. It depends on what kind of mortar it is. If it's just straight explosive, it's just going to explode everything it hits. If it's a fragmentation thing, that's sort of like a hand grenade where little pieces of it break off and fly at you. And then there's incendiary, which causes fires, and there are chemical versions and stuff like that. There's a lot of ugliness.
Why?
Where
humans,
some people take that pointy stick I talked about way too far. It's
yeah. They're like coming up with all kinds of ways to kill people. That's not cool, man.
It was so common.
That sits there and comes up with those.
Yeah. And it was so common for us getting attacked all the time, where it's bam, bam, bam. Huh. That was way over there. Okay. We'll have to go over there and see if they blew up the building that our laundry is in, something like that later.
Wow.
But I was on the way back and had to go through Baghdad International, and I'm sitting there talking to the guys that work there, waiting for my C-17 to show up. And they had a mortar attack at their base. And those dudes, I was telling some kind of tall tale, and it was one mortar. Just a single, because every other mortar attack it was a barrage. It was anywhere from 5 to a dozen. Bam, 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 bam. And I was so unfazed from it because I heard the thump. It was probably about a mile or so away from where we were. We were fine. And I was so used to it that I sat there and was still telling my story while these guys are jumping up and they're putting their helmet on, they're putting their Kevlar vest and all that stuff. They're losing it. And I'm like, and then the next thing I know, the guy told me I was wrong, whatever the story was.
That's funny.
And I'm sitting there, I was like, he's like, we're under attack. That was a mortar. It's like, yeah, it was only one. Why are you guys freaking out?
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. And wow.
So what do they do with all the equipment? So like all the tanks and all the aircrafts that are made, they don't go bad, right? They're made. They get better as they are used. So why do we have to keep building more? Like where do they all go?
The aircraft that I worked on for most of my career. I worked on a KC-135. That's the plane that refuels other planes in the air. It's got a little like a pipe thing that lowers down and it connects into the receiver aircraft and puts fuel into it so they can go fly off.
That's crazy too.
Yeah. The newest one of those was made in 1964. If we've got something that works, we hang on to it. So it's not like we're buying new planes.
Wow.
Just 3 years ago, they started bringing brand new versions of aerial refueling tankers online after all this time.
Wow. That's weird. Huh.
And to the Bat Mom in the chat, thank you for your support.
Yeah, we are grateful for your service. Holy cow, you're brave, man.
I'm not great. Now, for an Air Force nerd, because
you have to be brave to just join the military. I think. I mean,
right?
Because you don't.
But if you want a lighter time, the Air Force is the way to go.
Right,
for sure.
But you're still giving your life over and
sound lighter.
Something
for an Air Force guy. I actually had a pretty active life. Just the two stories the two incidents I've told you about. That's way more than a lot of other Air Force people have done. So
that's way more than I would ever want to have in activity
Yeah.
of any kind where I'm in danger or whatever.
Yeah, life. Yeah,
I've never been in danger.
A lot of those people are really
like
young.
that.
A lot of the guys. How old were you when you joined? That's like young people going into really crazy, scary situations.
I know.
And you don't even,
I made my parents sign the paperwork to allow me to go in at 17. But the way that my training is I turned 18 before I actually joined. But I was right out of high school. I graduated at 17. And if it was up to me, I'd have gone in the very next day after I got my diploma because I didn't have a very good
I would beg my
life.
son.
So it was my escape.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the military tried to get me because I scored really high on the ASVAB test. So I had the Marines after me. But I was like,
I was in Air Force basic training, and my mother sent me this letter that I'd gotten from the Department of the Navy, where they saw my ASVAB scores. We want you working on our nuclear power plants on submarines with your scores. I was already in Air Force basic training. I showed it to my drill instructor guy. He thought it was extremely funny. But,
that's awesome.
We got him first. He's ours.
I was like, no, I don't think I can do boot camp because I don't like bugs and and I don't like authority. I get intimidated. Sure. I'll cry if you yell at me.
When it comes to like boot camp and stuff like that, it's all kind of a head game. It's to teach you, because you have to fold your underwear into a 6-inch square and things like that. Right. It's to prepare you for a military career. You're given very simple instructions to fold your underwear like this and to fold your shirt like this and to make your bed like this. Basic instructions. Everyone should be able to do it. If you're not able to do it, we're not going to let you start touching nuclear weapons or bombers or fighters or anything else if you can't make your bed.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. Actually, and they should do that with everything. Actually, we should totally use that to like.
And as far as getting yelled at all the time, if somebody says "get down," you don't want to turn around and go, "Why? What do I got to get down?"
I know, right?
There might be a sniper shooting at you. If somebody says "get down," you get down.
You listen, right? Right. And it's so funny that stuff like that should be common sense, but it's just it's like actually more people probably don't realize that than what you just said. And that's I think we need to put everybody through the military, actually, is what I'm thinking now.
That would be good.
I used not to be opposed to that, not necessarily making it a career or anything like that, because the different services had different things. The big thing, at least back in my day, was to get the GI Bill. That's why I originally joined, was to get money for college, because I didn't have any money.
Right.
And you can do like 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is, for whichever branch you go into and whatever you like. And if anything, because when you come straight out of high school with no prospects of being able to go further in education, or you probably don't even know what you really want to do with your life. A lot of freshmen in college still don't know what they want to do to their life. They pick some crazy major and realize they hate it. Now they're stuck.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
they spent $80,000 on a degree that they don't even like, or they can't
get a job for. Exactly. This way, you kind of mature a little bit as a person. You're getting paid, so you've got your base. By the time you get out after 3, 4 years, whatever, you've probably got a car. It's not going to be a fancy car, but it's a basic transportation. You've got some money saved up. You get some travel. You get some experiences, and stuff like that. Basically, you've got like the living on your own starter kit is the way I always thought of it, is
That's a
because
good
we
way
have
to
no
look
intention of staying. You know, if you have no like the town where I grew up in Ashland, Kentucky, when I moved around a lot when I was a kid, but my senior year of high school, that's when they closed down the town's steel mill, which back when American cities used to have their own steel mill. And I would go to the Kroger there, and there's 45-year-old dudes bagging groceries because that's the only job they could get, and they needed the job. And these were like engineers that went right across the street from the steel mill, and that's what they could get, kind of thing.
Wow.
So there was no prospects of me even getting some odd job, you know, taking a year off after high school and trying to figure my life out. Nope, that wasn't an option. Not there. So military was my best option, and I wanted to see the world. And
now that you're talking about it, I'm thinking that I want to join the military now. Maybe I should.
I would hold off. The military is kind of in a mess. Well, the other plus thing too is, which is very different now, was the retirement thing. Because I figured, how hard could it be? You know, I was okay with, you know, yeah, the guy's going to yell at me with the Smokey the Bear hat on for 6 weeks in basic training, 6 weeks of whatever technical training for whatever career field you go into, or more, depending on whatever it is. Then you go to like your permanent base, you know, and usually by that time you've got about a year in. So you still got, like for the Air Force, 4 years with a minimum enlistment. So I still had, 3 more years to figure out what I wanted to do and things like that. But I just enjoyed it. It was great. And if you end up getting to like that 10-year mark, it's like, well, I might as well go for 20, because at 20 I can retire and all that, which under the plan that I was in, you get half of your base pay every month for the rest of your life.
Well, shit.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's how I'm able to be retired now, because I retired in 2009, December of 2009, with 24 years in.
Wow. You've been retired for a long time.
Yeah.
You're young.
I haven't worked a day since. That's not exactly true.
I did man of leisure now.
Yes.
Nice.
But I don't make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I am not rich. However, before
you're
I retired,
rich in other ways.
This is the other key. Is I have zero debt. I don't have a car payment. I don't have a house payment anymore. I got rid of that several years ago, where I don't owe. I mean, I still have my regular bills, just like everyone else is going to have, your phone bill and your cable bill and insurance and stuff like that. But the big one is, I live in a 1,400 square foot townhouse that's paid for. It's mine.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
So and plus I don't have to do yard work. So that's let the HOA kid do it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you're good. Now you just need a van.
Right? Now I need a van, and I can go adventuring around. And it's not really a camper van. It's going to be more of like a reconnaissance van. I'm going to like go looking for UFOs or something. I don't know.
That's cool.
But
that's super cool. You got to get like a satellite dish to put on the top of it, so looks all like. Woo.
I am thinking about a 360-degree camera. I am thinking about that. But
that would be cool.
First, I got to get a van first. That's step one.
That'd be cool to have a camera on your car, because I see things so often that wish I could like pull over and take a picture of it or whatever. So it'd be neat to. Oh, you guys! I saw the weirdest thing the other day. Okay, I want your opinion on what you think I saw. Okay. I saw a shadow in the sky flying like fast, like a helicopter, but it was a shadow. So I don't know what it was, because it was like not solid. It was literally, it looked like some faint like black smoke that was kind of maybe together, but not really, like a little cloud. But it was real faint, and it was moving very fast, and I wasn't seeing things. I definitely saw it. I don't even know what to think. Like, I don't know. Are there drones that have some kind of invisible technology?
Black? Isn't the stealth bomber black?
It wasn't black. It was like smoke. It was flying shadow smoke.
Just-
Moving fast.
Was it
like
translucent? You could see through it?
Yes, you could see through it.
Huh.
It was just a little bit darker than the sky around it. It was.
If you were to, I know you don't know how big it was because you're not sure what it was, but how high would you guess?
It was probably about as high as a helicopter would fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it was about the size of a helicopter, or maybe a
It
little
was
bit bigger?
probably smaller. I think it was smaller. But it was shaped like, I don't know. It wasn't really. It was shaped like not really a shape I know.
Do you think it could have been a drone of some type?
That's what I'm wondering, if it was some kind of a drone that had some kind of like, because my husband said that there are drones that have like projectors or something that like project the sky or something, so it makes it look like invisible or something.
Yeah, that was one of the plans, early ideas for how to make a stealth vehicle. Was the bottom of the aircraft would be like big screen TVs, just all meshed together, and with cameras on the top filming the sky above them, but the TVs basically on the bottom show that same sky. So if you were to look up at it, you're just seeing the sky. You're not seeing the plane. I mean, that's a rudimentary explanation, but that's the idea behind it.
I mean, that would make sense. I don't know what else can fly fast like that and be like invisible. And it was also silent. It didn't make any noise. I mean, I had my windows.
My next question.
Though. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear like a helicopter sound or anything. I just heard regular traffic. So, I know. I mean, I don't know if other people saw it. I doubt it, because it was like super hard to see. Like, I just happened to be looking at that part of the sky and it was moving, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Something like the second UFO I ever saw in my life was similar, except it was
really?
Mine was that was actually right here in Wichita, Kansas. A friend of mine lives like kind of right in the middle of town. And I was over visiting with him, and we were going to go out in his backyard and smoke cigars. And anytime I go outside at night, first thing I do is look up, because I'm an astronomer. Like to look at the stars. I love it. And he went to the bathroom. I went heading straight outside. As soon as I stepped out into his backyard, I looked straight up and I'm looking all around. What can I see? I was bitching because we're right in the middle of the city and there's a lot of light pollution. So all the smaller, dimmer stars get all washed out. You can't see them. So I'm trying to see what I could see. And I just like directly overhead, I just like, I guess sensed or saw or something caught my attention where something was moving. I'm trying to look at it. And it was like, black night sky, picture like extra dark gray shape on top of that, where you can't really see the edges because it's almost matching the background.
Right.
And as it's moving overhead, I wasn't even sure I was seeing something. I was like, is this just my eyes playing tricks on me? What am I looking at? But being the astronomy nerd, I'm looking forward of where it's moving to. It's like, okay, there's a clump of stars there. And as it went over, it was blocking the stars. So it was something physical, no matter what it was.
Right.
No sound. Because of the way the stars, as it was covering them, kind of disappeared, I got the impression it was kind of triangular shaped.
Oh, okay.
Except for because we've heard of black triangles before, probably, if you're familiar with UFO lore. But typically we think of a triangle, and I'll use my Leatherman as a demonstration, a triangle shape. We think of that point of the triangle as going forward because that's more aerodynamic, I guess, is what we think. Mm-hmm. What I saw, it looked more like one of the flat side was moving forward as it was moving along.
Huh.
I have no idea what that was. And at that point, that was in 1999, I think it was. Yeah, it was 1999. And I had already been in the Air Force almost 15 years at that point. So I'd seen a lot of planes. I'd seen a lot of, wacky things flying through the sky day and night. This had no lights, no sound. All I saw was the shape that was blocking the stars. So I knew there was something there, but I have no idea what that was.
That's weird.
I think the only reason I could sort of see it was because of the lights of the city were kind of lighting underneath of it. That's probably the only reason why I even took notice of it. that there was something there, because the further it got away, the more I'd lose it. Just couldn't see it anymore, kind of thing. And it was about that time my friend comes from inside. He's like, "Do you see that?" I was like, "No."
There's a couple people that I know that have seen UFOs, and it was like almost like when the way they described it to me, like Dikey and Eric Susie saw something. They said that it was like the size of like a foot of a baseball field, and it was like they said it just all of a sudden lights were like blink, 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 and they said it was like that for a second, and then it was the sky again. And I said it's almost like the alien accidentally like hit the uncloak button.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh shit.
Some rookie alien in the cockpit accidentally bumped his elbow for a sandwich.
And they're like, oh shit, they can see us, hit it back on or whatever. Because I've had a couple of people talk about it like that, like it was just there and then not there. It didn't really fly away or anything. It was just like it was there and not there. And it was
gone.
Yeah, that's weird. I believe it though. I've seen some kind of shadow. I've seen it twice. A big old shadow flew over me, and I was like driving, and I don't know what it was because there wasn't anything that flew over me. I just saw I saw like the shadow, like it was like a giant plane. I don't know, but there was nothing that flew over me. That's happened twice, and it's like, what is that?
Have you seen other things that people don't see, like ghosts or spirits or cryptids?
I see. Well, I do. I see ruins and everything, but and I see faces and everything. But I have that Piccadelia or whatever you guys call it.
Pareidolia.
Yeah, pareidolia. I have that, but
I usually leave my pareidolia in the other room on the charger. I don't use it very often.
Yeah, but no, I don't see. Like I sense things, but I don't see anything.
Okay, because one of my like personal pet theories is our perception of reality around us isn't that great. And
yeah, I bet you're right. I don't think mine is.
So I kind of think of it more as like, I mean, yeah, humans are kind of smart, but I think with our eyes and our all of our senses, eyes and hearing and all that. We're barely able to perceive enough stuff to where we don't fall off a cliff or we don't, walk into the tiger's mouth or something like that. And we don't get that great past that, upscale or downscale. Honestly, compared to every other animal on Earth, all of our individual sensors kind of suck. We do not have the best eyesight. We certainly don't have the best hearing or sense of smell. Compared to a lot of the other animals out there.
And we have the ability to lose shit like all the time. Like I lost my phone. Still, everybody is lost in my house somewhere, but it's dead.
Pareidolia is by Jane.
So
I'd like to add something to that, what you're saying, Enzo. I believe that the only reason why our senses aren't very stellar is because they taught us that they weren't and trained us to believe that they weren't. But I believe that we actually have outstanding senses and more senses than they taught us, but they didn't want us to know that because that would make us way too powerful and we're not unable to control.
I've always
that's what I
imagined it more as I'm a computer nerd too, so I always imagined it. We've got the best NVIDIA GTX graphics card, we've got the best soundboard and all that, with a 486 processor running it all. It'll run Fortnite, but you're going to be pretty disappointed, that kind of thing. But I do feel that there are some people that their senses, whether it's our brain isn't good enough to run all of it at the same time or whatever it is, that their perception for certain things is a little wider. Their sense of hearing may be better than the average, or their sense of sight. And it does seem to me like there's also almost like a psychological block for certain things of, okay, something zooming by in the sky is not dangerous. It's not trying to kill me because it's flying away. So ignore it. Because we've all had that experience of you get a new car, at least new to you car. You do your homework, you save your pennies, you buy whatever the vehicle is, and as soon as you start driving that thing around, you start noticing that same car on the road. That car is just like mine. That was just like mine, except it's different.
Right.
All those cars were there before, but you didn't have that matchmaking imprint in your head to pick them all out as you were driving by until you had one where that's my car. I recognize that's my car now. Now you see my car everywhere when you start driving around. It's kind of that same idea. You're not used to see. I kind of think like UFOs and stuff like that zip around in our skies all the time, but you've got this filter of, well, especially today, everybody's doing this instead of doing this. There's no UFOs in the phone. Yeah. They're only in the air. So, I mean, if you drive to the grocery store to pick up a couple of items and then drive back, how many red cars did you see? How many blue cars did you see? Was the light when you pulled up to it red, or did you have to slam on the brake? None of these things register when you get back home. You don't think about, did you see a girl wearing a red sweater at the store or anything? You saw them, you were there, but you don't register it because it's not important.
Right.
Something buzzing around in the sky that you're barely even looking up for anyway, not important to the brain, kind of an idea, or at least to the psychology of it. However, when you get those instances where it's undeniable, where, hey, I'm going to go look at the stars. What is that? Then you start noticing them just like the car all the time, just like that new car thing that we talked about. So I don't necessarily know if it's, cloaking ships or we're just.
I want to see another one. That'd be cool. If I see another one, I'm going to be, because unfortunately I was like driving because I wanted to follow it, like to see where it went or how far I could follow it or whatever, but I couldn't because I was driving. And that always happens, dang it. I'm always the one driving too. Sucks. Because I can't look at
for you, Enzo.
Sure.
So there's a trend going on TikTok, and the trend is to ask a man how often he thinks of the Roman Empire. So do you think of the Roman Empire?
I've always thought that was a meme kind of an idea, and guys are just saying, "Oh, I think of it anytime I'm idle." That kind of meme style response. I personally don't think a lot lot that. Well, one, my mind is rarely idle.
Why would someone think about that? That's a weird question.
Well, I've actually been asking men, and they do actually think of it. So Matt
think of the Roman Empire
because he does construction and he does a lot of measurements. Yeah, so measurements, he says, brings him to that thought, and also driving on freeways. He told me, I don't remember how come or why, but
Romans built the first roads.
So yeah, I don't know.
But what does that mean? Why? That's a specific question. Like why? What is that? Why are you?
It's one of those.
I don't know who thought of it.
I think it's a guy-girl thing, where guys think about like the technology and its origins and where it came from, and a lot of stuff originated from the Roman Empire.
Oh, my husband, I bet, thinks about the Roman Empire actually all the time.
Right.
I bet.
Yeah,
it's not like
I bet he
it's
does.
It's not like guys are just sitting around and when they're not engaged in a conversation or watching something on TV or playing a game, they're like gladiators. It's nothing like that. It's but usually my only references to it is talking about prehistoric civilizations. I usually say like anything before the Younger Dryas that may have existed as far as civilization. I don't necessarily subscribe to, the crystal power pyramids flying around the earth or anything like that. However, I do think it's possible that there was a Roman Empire level of technology around for before the Ice Age ended, kind of an idea.
Is there a question that you ask girls if they think about stuff?
No.
For that.
Well, I can ask you now. Is there something during your idle time that your mind wanders to?
Oh, my mind wanders all over the place.
Astrology.
Where is my mind not wandering to? What was that?
I think women think about astrology more, like, you know, like horoscopes and like your sign and stuff.
Me?
I do.
Oh, I think about wood.
Wood.
Actual wood. Get your minds out of the gutter. Just kidding.
I know, Jara and her wood jokes.
I thought we were going somewhere else. But,
yeah, at Susie's New Year's Eve party the other day, I'm one of her guests. I was excited to tell people about my wood, and I was like, I have so much wood, and he was like, "Whoa!"
I'll bet you do. You're a very attractive young lady. Yes.
I was like, "I'm a woodworker, everybody."
You go, girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a more serious question. Let's see.
Oh.
I would like to hear your take on quantum physics. What do you think about it? Do you believe it? Do you what? Like, what do you, I mean, science. Everything is quantum physics, really.
It's a real thing, and they've done plenty of experiments that kind of show how Einstein quote is probably the best. He described it as spooky action at a distance.
Yep.
And it gets super weird. The typical thing is usually the double slit experiment is the one that usually blows everyone's mind when you really look closely at it, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, your cat is dead and also not dead.
Yeah, well, that's Schrodinger's cat. That the Schrodinger's cat experiment. It is both alive and dead until observed, kind of a thing.
Right.
This temporal weird, timey-wimey, wibbly wobbly kind of state. It's very strange, and it's hard for us to wrap our minds around right now.
Right.
We've
like
certainly
if the tree fall, did it fall, kind of a thing, because there was nobody there to experience it.
And then some people take it way too far. It's like, well, if I'm not looking at the tree, does it really exist? And crazy. They go way off on a tangent, which that's not what this is. Kind of a thing. But I was going to say something else. I forgot what I was. But it is a real thing. It's kind of weird and it's hard to explain. And as I mentioned before, humans were mostly smart, and we've figured out a lot of probably, in a grand scheme of things, a lot of rudimentary science, or a lot of rudimentary type stuff. Not so good on the microscopic and the macroscopic. Being an astronomy nerd, you may have heard the term dark matter before. All that is just a placeholder for math we don't understand. Right. It's not an actual thing. Because we're really good at, sorry, bear with me for those of you that don't believe this, but we're pretty good at launching rockets out to distant planets and asteroids and various places with very good accuracy within our own solar system. That requires a lot of math because all of these things are moving. When we try to apply those same levels of orbital dynamics and all of that same science to upscale up to galaxy size, where we're trying to predict directions stars are going and how the gravity of this star is affecting another and which direction it's go, doesn't really work out. It's pretty far off, but it does work if you add a lot more mass to the galaxy, to the universe. We're missing a lot of mass that we can't see or can't detect, which is hard to understand because everything reflects light.
Couldn't it just be a lot of black holes or something? Because mass is there, but you just can't see the light from it. Or
well, even with a black hole, we've actually got visual photographs now of black holes. We've done a couple of them where you're not seeing the black hole itself, but you're seeing the event horizon and stuff that's falling into it.
Ew.
So, while technically not directly viewing the black hole, you're seeing other stuff that's around it. And of course, then there's, because gravity is so distorted, you can actually see stars and stuff behind it. If the black hole was right here, the gravity would be so intense, it would be warped, but you would still be able to like see my face.
Right.
From the light getting bent around. Kind of an idea.
I did have a dream
Wow,
that I was in space twice, and it seems very real, actually. It's kind of a scary dream, but that was the winding down dream.
It's scary. So
it's
just like that particle.
Yeah, I had this.
Another place at the same time.
I've had this weird dream with a winding down sound that was like scary.
Just a slow.
Yeah, yeah. It was like it's like a winding down, but there was like a feeling.
Turbine kind of losing power.
Yeah, and then I also had sleep paralysis though when I was having those dreams, so I couldn't move, and I was like trying to wake up, and I couldn't talk or anything either, which is scary.
Sleep paralysis is when you astral project and your brain gets back before your body does.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've gone places it feels like I've gone places in my dreams.
You do, I think.
You did.
I think we
start
all
working on
I
astral
think we're not
projecting
really here.
my
I think we're really in spirit, and we're dreaming that we're here. Maybe possible.
And it's like a different Earth. And some of my dreams are like it's like Earth, but it's like a little bit different because it like the oceans look different in some of my dreams than any ocean. I don't know. Maybe there is oceans here like that, but there's all kinds of cool stuff on Earth that I didn't have any idea that we had stuff like that on Earth.
Did you guys hear anything about this body of water found in space?
I'm not familiar with it. Although I see Jen
like
and
floating?
They had heard something about it dribbling off into a black hole. So that would be pretty far away. And I don't know how they would be able to know that it would be water. Or
like
not
lake,
waste,
like a lake just floating, like a big old puddle or something.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
So Jen's heard about it too. She says.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Very interesting. Bone says the gladiators are the ship.
I do think that movie Interstellar was a good movie. I think that movie to me seemed like believable with how things could be and how like time, like how it seemed like there was a ghost or whatever, but it was just him from because he went through the black hole or I think stuff like that could somehow be weirdly possible.
Well, weird, I think, is key. I think, if, aliens landed today and it's like, hey, come on, we'll take you a ride. We'll take you around the Milky Way and show you all the sights and all that stuff. I feel it would be so cosmically weird that we could barely understand it. Like, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy weird, like Guardians of the Galaxy weird, like, I don't know. Farscape type weird. It's not going to be like Star Trek where we've got nice metal ships and they're cruising through space and everybody just happens to look kind of human with a little appliance on their face or whatever.
What if there's portals on Earth that take you to another planet?
Good.
Then you don't have to use a ship. Maybe they know of something like that.
Maybe. Wormhole style technology or Stargate thing like the movies.
Have you seen that show on Amazon Prime? I think it's called Night Skies with what's her face? Sissy Spacek.
Sissy Spacek. Yeah, I've seen that. That's a very odd show. I like it.
Like that. Like there could be portals like that are in the mountains where you go or in somebody's backyard and you just go in and there's like another planet. That like I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah. Because it could be wormholes like can open in anywhere, right?
Good, sure. You don't know what that exit is.
Right.
Sort of like they had on that show is, hey, it looks cool. You can't just run out there though. You need a space. You need a spacesuit because you don't know if there's air or anything else out there.
Right. Oh, shit.
dangerous
But if there's
radiation, or who knows?
if there's people that are traveling back and forth already, like right now, then like they could be aliens and we don't even know it. And they're traveling back and forth and they know about it. We just don't know anything about it. That's probably where they're sending stuff or something.
One of my biggest problems with all of the contact type of ufology stories is even the grays, and then there's a whole host of a bunch of other, aliens. My biggest problem is they all look too human. They got 2 arms, they got 2 legs, they got a single head with 2 eyes and a nose and a head.
What if aliens do look human?
How is that possible?
Well, there's the Lyrans that look like cats.
Yeah, that's true.
It's possible for there to be another Earth with more advanced people.
Well, I mean, like most of the most of the exoplanets that we've tracked, which, to be fair, is a very tiny amount compared to the whole galaxy, have usually been way bigger than Earth. They're like a super Earth. They're several times larger, but they're in that Goldilocks zone where it's close enough to the sun to keep the ice, or to keep the water in a liquid state, but not so far away where it all turns to ice. That's our Goldilocks zone, which, as far as we know, that's the other problem with trying to anticipate life on other worlds, is we've only got a sample set of 1 to compare everything to, which is Earth. So if there's anything outside of that, we've never seen it, so we have no exposure to it. So it's hard to envision.
So you don't think there's any other beings right now on Earth that are not human?
I don't know. The way I've always thought of it is, if you're an alien from a totally alien world, totally different atmosphere, totally different lithosphere, that's the actual dirt that's around, totally different sun, totally different gravity. All of these things are going to be very, very different from what we have. That's going to affect what your physiology looks like. To me, there could just be an amorphous blob that could be super smart. And honestly, if I were to look at it, I may not even know what it is and not even think about it. Or
they could be invisible.
A tree, it could be a rock, it could be a million different things that I wouldn't think, because we think we've got it on our thought. Because like back, especially like a lot of the alien stories from like the 50s and early 60s, they look just like us. They're exactly like us. Hey, I'm from Venus. Hey, I'm from Mars. Hey, I'm from Alpha Centauri or whatever. And we're here, tell you not to use nukes. Bye. And they take off. But they always were described like exactly like us.
What about aliens that don't have physical bodies? They should make a movie about that.
Like you said, like if they were invisible, they don't have to be invisible, because we can only see like this much of the spectrum. So
they can be exactly. They don't have to be invisible. We can't see them. So like they can communicate and they can think like us, and they can even make us hear their thoughts maybe, but we can't see them.
Or they could even be an interdimensional thing where we're only seeing the part that we can see in 3D space, because that's all we can kind of register. It might be big as a mountain, but we're only seeing a part that's only this big,
Right. Yeah, because I mean, beings can be, they don't necessarily have to be only physical in nature. They can be,
that's true.
I don't know, something else.
But to Jen's question that you put up there a second ago, yeah, there you go. Have I heard of a UFO size of a small plane that looks like a bat wing with lights on the bottom of it? Actually, the original stories about leading up to the Roswell crash described it exactly that. The doctor that was flying the plane around Mount Rainier had a picture that looked exactly like what you're describing. And I'm drawing Kenneth Arnold was his name, who he was one of these, because if you're a pilot, people will believe you if you tell them that you saw something weird in the sky, apparently. But he was a doctor and a pilot. He was actually looking for a different crash plane around Mount Rainier, Washington area. And he's the one that came up with the flying saucer sort of story, where when talking to the press after his sighting, because he saw like 5 or 6 Batwing style Delta shaped craft that he said they weren't flying like a normal plane. They were skipping like a saucer on the water. The press turned that into flying saucer, and that's where that whole flying saucer phrase came from.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And it used to be a picture. I could probably find one real fast.
So Jen saw it over the apartment complex.
Oh, really?
Wow, Jen, that's cool. I think that if you see them, they're already aware that you're seeing them, I think.
Well, hang on just 1 second, and you can tell me if this is what it looked like.
Okay.
Can you pull up that screen share, please? Did it look like that?
Did it look like that, Jen?
Because that exact shape was seen over several places over the United States just prior to, no, that was not it. Just prior to the Roswell crash. And supposedly that's what actually crashed there, because it was seen in so many different places.
Wow.
Dan's getting tired and is asking, is this a 2-hour show?
I know. We usually only go for 1 hour. But I think we could talk to Enzo forever.
I probably will be getting off soon. I'm trying to check on my mama, and it's not letting me log on to the thingy.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jara, do you have any more questions for Enzo?
I have lots of questions for Enzo, but I will save some more for next time.
Yeah, we'll save them for the next Let's Ask Enzo. Maybe that will be a regular thing.
Just ask Enzo.
Yeah, that's just
Enzo on the hot seat.
Ask Enzo. I like it. All right. Yeah, I did. I
don't either, Dan. I'll sit and talk
how you felt about the afterlife or astrology, but we will save that for next time. We'll save some of that stuff for next time.
Yeah, I was gonna have you tell us a ghost story if you have one, but
do you have a ghost story? You have any ghost stories?
I have a super minor one that's almost not worth telling, but technically I was in a haunted house. Basically I heard footsteps, but it was in a very haunted house, and I was very close friends with the folks that lived there, and they would go on and on with the stories, but for another time.
Footsteps.
That's awesome.
That's scary enough for me. I don't need scary.
Heck yeah. Well, you guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to especially thank Enzo for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Because we are very inquisitive, and we do hope we didn't drive you crazy with our weird questions.
Not at all.
And
yeah, I'd like to
do this again, because this is a good. I could ask you questions all freaking day for sure.
I know you need to get your van, because you have to go to that thing, right? Aren't you wanting to go to a festival?
I actually even got booked for another engagement here in Kansas in July. Yeah, I'm going to Contact in the Desert, which is the end of May, beginning of June.
Okay, so you are going to that?
Yep.
You'll have to let us know if you come through Arizona so we can.
I will be going through Arizona.
Yeah, we'll go
on
out
the way back. I'll stop. On the way back, I'll
please,
stop.
Please.
Cool beans.
Right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time here, please hit the like button and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Thank you guys all again. I hope everybody has a really good rest of the week, and Happy New Year, everybody. This is going to be a
good
great
night.
year.
I'm going to try to find my phone. Wish me luck.
Bye, everybody.